First of all, let me just thank Steve for just a tremendous job. He's been doing this for about 30 days, and he has basically left no stone unturned. I've had people come to me that say, I haven't seen Baldesano in years, and he's been hitting them up. He's been hitting them up to find out what we need, what works, what needs to be addressed in misdemeanor court for number threes. You that are here from misdemeanor, what you have to say is just as important as what the chiefs have to say. So Steve is going everywhere so that we can make sure that the information that we present to you is meaningful. And we don't just have you sitting here looking at your watch and clocking some CLE. So really and truly, tremendous job. He's really taken this on and done a great job. I mean, he got Mr. Holmes here just so because he thought it was a good thing to do, and it would be great to have someone of his stature address us. So, okay, all right. We're here to talk about ethics today, and I think during the next couple of years, certainly during this legislative session, prosecutors are going to be maligned from certain corners of our existence, most especially the Innocence Project, who did a survey based on certain numbers and came out, I guess, with the conclusion that we were the next lowest thing to pond scum. Now, then TDCAA, and again, it's great to see TDCAA back in this building. They will always be welcome here. I don't know what happened there, but it ain't happening again. So, but then TDCAA took this study, they broke it down, they crunched the numbers again, and they found out that many of these numbers were faulty. Many of the things that this organization said and reported as fact just were not so. And so a great deal of respect and thanks should go to TDCAA for having our backs. They spent a lot of time and a lot of effort to basically take this so-called factual report from the Innocence Project, bring it out into the broad daylight and expose it for what it was. So this is going to be a big issue. Ethics will be a huge issue in the next couple of years, and we cannot be on the defensive. We're going to get out ahead of this, and we're going to show people that, you know, we are the good guys. We are the people that you want sitting next to you if somebody hurts you. And we do it ethically, but we will kick your butt if it needs to be kicked. And that is the way it needs to be done. I was lucky enough to be hired by Mr. Holmes right out of law school. It was, I guess, honestly, before they got to know me very well. And so I was fortunate enough to come to work here. Best thing that ever happened to me. I remember Ted Bush calling me right before Thanksgiving break and saying, hey, Mike, we would like to offer you a job as an assistant district attorney. I just lit up, and he said, and if you'd like to have some time to think about that, you can call me back. And I just sat there dumbfounded, and I said, well, Mr. Bush, I'll hang up and call you back. I'll hang up and call you back in 2 weeks. I'll call you back in a week, whatever you want me to do. But if you'll have me, I'll come down there and work right now, because that's where I want to be. And that didn't even begin to express how great the time at that office was. And it was an ethical office. An office where you just did the right thing, and it was exemplified by the leadership. And I'll just give you a quick story to show you. You know, people can talk about things, and people can say, this is the way you should do things. But when you see those people do those things themselves, it really brings it home. And so I was a brand new chief, and I had a case that involved the New York Mets. And I hated the Mets before, I hated them then, I still hate the Mets. I've taught my children to hate the Mets. But this was a case where they were alleged to have committed aggravated assault on peace officers. And I spent, I can't tell you how many hours fleshing this out, and come to find out that a kick in the groin of a police officer turned out to be when a defendant was leaning over a planter box, their foot slipped and the back of their leg hit the officer in the groin. That's not exactly like a drop kick with a running start. So the more I found out about this, the more I realized man, this just isn't a felony. It's just not. And so I thought, who can I talk to that I know will give me a square answer, and just see if I'm just harebrained in my opinion of this. And it was suggested to me that I talk to Mr. Holmes. I said, it's Sunday. And I had just gotten a phone call from the police officers, incidentally, where one of them said, you know, Mike, we need to talk about something. What can we possibly talk about we have not talked about for the last 3 months? Well, we were drinking that night. No, I'm sorry. We might have been drinking that night. I might need to change my clothes after you told me that. So, the bottom line is, I called up Johnny Holmes. He was at home. It was a Sunday night, and he certainly had the right to be away from us for a little while. And he said, come over here. I went over to his house, and I remember sitting in this living room. He had an oil can. He was kind of spinning his hand. I told him what the deal was, and I told him what my concerns were. And then I had some real problems with pursuing this based on what it was. He said, Mike, I will never make you try a case that you do not believe in. And, you know, it's one thing to hear somebody talk about ethics. It's another thing to see somebody who is the top law enforcement official in Harris County live by that code. So I'm going to sit down. I'm going to bring the guy who really set the tone for this office to be the best office in the United States and is an example that we will follow in trying to get back to that level. John Holmes, Jr.